Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the best part of your week. It's the Wednesday Super2Bit Podcast, episode 11. Welcome. Trickle on in. Before we get started, guys, don't forget to give us a share there out into the wild. Pop a little like. It's all about those metrics. Pop a comment while you're at it. And before you're done with all that, make sure you follow us on either Spotify or Apple Music. Both links are in the description. Good to have you guys here. Tonight's topic, ladies and gents, is none other than, are there too many games right now? 2020, that's the year, in case you forgot it. Are we just spoiled for choice, and are there just too many games? Myself and my co-pilot, surprise, it is your boy, the Marksman.
Hey, everybody. How you guys doing?
Did we find the stutter bug? Did you squash him?
Yeah, we found the stutter bug.
Yeah, you finally squashed him dead, eh?
Yeah, he's all good.
It was on 60 FPS, and we know the machinery can't handle 60 FPS. Welcome, Wayne Smith. All you guys that joined us earlier. Sorry about that. Sorry about the hiccup. Good to have you back. David Brodio, Chloe ZA in the house, Wayne Smith, Mohammed as well, and my boy Raul with the shares. Get the shares in the wild. So like I said, the topic tonight is, are there just too many games in 2020? And it's an interesting one. It's a topic that kind of came out last time we were on the podcast chatting, and we actually got into it, but we said we were going to save it for its own separate podcast for good reason. There's a lot to talk about. So Neil, I'm gonna start by posing the question to you, sir. Maybe we can get some sweet nostalgia up on the big screen there. Well, let me start with my story. Basically, I've been gaming for 30 years, for a good old long time. Yeah. And gaming for me was always it holds a special place in my heart. When I was a kid, I had no money, so when it came to buying games, that was like out of my reach. Getting games was completely out of my reach. If I got 1 to maybe 2 games a year on my birthday and Christmas, that was a lot. You know what I'm saying? And because of that reason, I think games themselves, they were like treasures. They were like little trophies for me, and I would slowly stack my shelf that eventually had like 10 games on it after like 10 years.
And you had the big boxes as well, so it was like an event to have it.
Yeah, I've still got all my big boxes in the cupboard, like with the manuals, and a lot of them had like those fabric fold-out maps that you got, and like 12 CDs because the games are getting bigger and bigger. And I treasured them. Neil. And I feel like the last couple of years, maybe the last 10 years, something has been missing.
Yeah.
When it comes to gaming, in terms of people just not valuing games as much. And I think the reason for that is because it's just so oversaturated. There's so many games out there. Back when I was like 13, 14, the term free to play didn't exist. When I was 20, the term free to play didn't exist. And like I said, you had to pay for every single game. Now you just jump on Steam. You're like, oh, let's see what's free this month. There's like 12 games. You get 2 games with PlayStation.
What did Epic gave away Hitman 2016?
There you go. You got Epic giving away Hitman.
Awesome game.
They gave away Grand Theft Auto 5 like a month or 2 back. So dude, at any one time, you turn on your PlayStation, your Xbox, your various gaming apps like your Epic Game Store and such, and you're going to get like 6 free games a month.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, like PlayStation, you're still technically paying for them, but it's not a lot. Yeah.
Listen, like you pay. Well, yeah, you know what I'm saying.
You're paying for multiplayer, and you get some free games along for the price.
Exactly.
Let's jump over to the game screen, shall we?
Yes. Yeah, let's get the nostalgia flowing. Nuclear Storm, what's happening? Let's check in with the chat real quick before we pick Neil's brain. Hello, Dave. Sorry I missed the stream today. No worries, but at least you're here for the podcast. Thomas Bain with the share. Raul with the like. Valentin, I think it's Valentine Novak. Hey, Dave, I'm looking you from France. Oh, welcome, buddy. Pavalou Anglais. Yeah, it's a little French I learned when I was there. Chatem. Wayne Smith.
Stop scaring away the viewers.
Where did you get those dangerous shares? These were given to me by Tony Stark himself, buddy. But I can get you a pair if you DM me. Owen, welcome. Thomas Ben, once again. Good to have you guys here. So like we were saying, Neil, let's pick your brain, buddy. I've kind of told you a bit about how I feel about the saturated market. What do you think?
Well, yeah, so let me tell you a story. I remember I think it was 96, 97. I've been gaming for many, many moons. And the only game I wanted to get was Worms 2, not Worms Armageddon or Worms World Warfare or Worms 3D. This is like the second Worms game, the first one that ever worked on like a Windows 95 PC. And I looked high and low. I'd go to the local CNA. I don't know if you remember going to like the CNA and the big shopping malls.
CNA used to sell games?
Yeah, they used to sell games. That used to be the place you buy games. And you go look on the shelf and you're like, guys, where's Worms? And they're like, oh, sorry, shipment hasn't arrived. Because it used to take usually like a couple of weeks to a couple of months before you got the game in South Africa. You'd read about it in the magazines. You know it would be coming out, but like you'd have to wait. And it wasn't like this instant on satisfaction you get now where like a game comes out and as long as your internet's fast enough, you can like be playing it day and date with everyone else in the world.
Within an hour or two.
So I waited and I searched high and low and like I gave up on it. I spent like a month and a half and I'd saved up my 300 Rand, which is what every game cost back in the day.
I remember. Yeah.
And didn't. And then the one day I came home from school and my mom's like, come over here. And then she had found it somewhere. She had like gone out specially because she had known the struggle that I went through to like find this game. And it's the only game my mom ever bought for me. And like forever I'll remember that. And I was like, this is like the greatest day. Come home from school, had a tough day in the classroom. Then go and like, play some Worms, invited all mates over. I think you came over a couple of times.
I remember you invited me over when you got it. Because you had the original. When I was like, this is amazing. When you got two, I played the first one. I was like, whoa, man. I was there like the next day. That's a good story. That's a good little tale there, buddy. I think we've all got a couple of stories like that. I think one that the only thing my mom ever bought me was the Nintendo Wii. I think she won the Bryanston Country Club like end of month lottery. She's like, the raffle. And she's like, "What do you want? Because I'll buy you something nice." And I was like, "Ooh, like how much can I spend?" And she's like, "No, don't worry about that." And I was like, "Nintendo Wii," and she's like, "Heard of crap balls, that's expensive." But she got me the Wii anyway, Neil. I didn't play much Wii. I wasn't really a Wii guy, but
didn't you convince her that it was like good for fitness and stuff?
You
gave her a soft sell and like this is the future of like exercise.
She was like, "Dave, you have so many games."
The real story.
She's like, "You got a computer, you got a PlayStation. Do you really need another game console?" I really didn't. And I was like, "Yes, Mom, I need another one, please. I want all." Because I'm a hoarder, Neil. You know this.
Yeah.
And eventually, she got me the Wii. But yeah, I feel like to your point, like that when you got that game in your hands, that was a feeling you'll never forget. Worms 2, and you must have put hundreds of hours.
Yeah, and I played it because it was one of the 3 games I had, so I could play Worms 2, I could play Monster Truck Madness, I could play Duke Nukem 3D. And a couple of like shareware games, because back in the day the free games were the shareware, which was still a pretty sweet thing. You've got like 1/4 of Quake, 1/3 of Duke Nukem 3D, like 1/4 of what was that game, Commander Keen, all of those kind of games, So that but they were like extended demos, and they were a brilliant sales tactic because it was again the only games you had. So you jammed that like demo broken until you eventually like, forget this, I'm gonna go buy the full game.
Over. Yeah. And you would like I mean also had the shareware disc. I played Ultima 8, I played Descent, I played there's a few. I think King's Quest was like back in the day when they used to have like floppy shareware. But just to drive my point home, like look what I have in front of my shelf right here to my left. You guys can't see it. Let me just grab a few of these boxes.
Dave's like, look over here, the area you can't see. Let me read some comments while Dave takes his headset off.
I still have the original game boxes of some of my most cherished games. Here's Jurassic Park on the Sega Genesis. Okay, played that to hell and back. Lord of the Rings, Two Towers on PlayStation. I mean, the fact that I have these front and center on my, on my display shelf goes to show, like, how much I treasured these games. And there's a whole bunch more up there that I could show you guys if I wasn't so lazy to get up and pick them off. But today I sit here and I kid you not, I have a Steam library of about 282 games. Yeah. Steam library, that's just PC.
Yeah,
I could maybe name 3, 4, 5 of those games. And the other 278, I have no idea what they are.
Yeah. And you spent like 3 minutes playing each of them.
I looked at the stats. I've probably spent on average an hour playing those 200 games, like each, Some of them are only like in the minutes, 15, 20 minutes, It's terrible.
I see a lot of guys are bringing up some classic stories here. So Nuclear Storm saying he has a story that one Xmas money wasn't available like they have it now, and they were struggling a little bit. And he said he didn't need anything, and his dad said he'll try and get him something, and his dad always bought a game or made him sure that he got a game for him that he now keeps under lock and key. The only thing, Nuclear Storm didn't tell us what game he's talking about here. So Nuclear Storm,
what game is it, buddy?
Drop us a comment. What game was it?
Neo dropping the chat. What's up? He says he also loved Worms. David Brody, a big Fallout and Half-Life man. I'm there. I've still got my original Half-Life 2 box on the shelf of gems. Bruce saying Duke Nukem Doom, Rot, Rise of the Triad, and even good old 486 Leisure Suit Larry, bro. Yeah. One of the first games I ever played was Leisure Suit Larry.
You learned a lot of things from Leisure Suit Larry.
Oh, I did. Things I didn't understand at the time, I remember playing Leisure Suit Larry with Eben on the old Pentium 486, and when you start the game, obviously there was no age protection back then.
It had that question though,
So it would ask you a question, and you'd only have one attempt. If you got it wrong, it would throw you out because obviously you're too young. And we would always get the questions wrong because it would be something hard. We didn't have Google, so it'd be like, when was the first Ford motor car invented? And we don't know that crap. And eventually Eben figured out the hack, which is like Control Alt Z or something. And then it skips the,
and then your minds were opened.
Bro, I think I was never the same after that. Hey, I think that they sent me down the wrong path.
Yeah. I just want to give a quick shout out to Stephen for giving us 100 stars, dropping them in there all sneaky like. Thank you very much.
How did I miss that? You biscuit. There it is, a handy for Mr. Rutz. Thank you so much. Keegan Grigg saying Nintendo 64 is my favorite console, and Mario 64. That is a good machine. I had that console as well. Still have it. I only ever had GoldenEye on it, and it was treasured.
You must be the only man on the planet who has one Nintendo 64 game and never bothered to buy another one.
Did I even have a second controller for that thing?
No, I don't think you did. Yeah, because we never played multiplayer.
We never played multiplayer. What a missed opportunity.
Tell me about it.
Ivan saying Rainbow Six used to have the first map on demo. New York Museum was the map. I remember that. Played the map probably 1,000 times with different guns. Dude, I remember watching the first Rainbow Six like gameplay on Cybernet. Remember the show Cybernet back in the day? Bro, well, this is just nailing our point home. I would live for Cybernet, and I would live for the monthly PC gaming mag. And I would literally rewatch every episode of Cybernet. If I was at school or whatever, I'd make my mom tape them, and I'd come home and I'd watch. It's Lucy Lohan and her sweet British accent. I'm Lucy Lohan. Welcome to Cybernet. That's terrible, but I was captivated by that. Yeah. It was a pretty woman's voice talking about video games, and I was.
And she was a robot, and you were like, "This is the future."
3D robot. And then obviously the mags would come out, and I would cling to every page. I would literally sit in my beanbag. I had a beanbag. Yeah. I would face it towards the window on a sunny day, and I would like take the plastic off because they're still wrapped in plastic sometimes. And I'd sniff the pages. I'd be like, and you could smell that fresh gaming news, And then I'd page through it, and I'd treasure every letter.
And I don't remember back in the old days at Rage, because Rage was organized by NAG originally. And then at the door, they'd have all like the past issues, like just free. And then you could just collect. So like if I was missing a couple of episodes, because you didn't always have money, or they were sometimes sold out at the shop, then go to Rage and you go pick up your like missing three issues of NAG, and just go home, throw in the demo disc, watch all the demo videos of all the new games, because there was no internet. We had to wait every month to see like the new video. Like we are so spoiled.
There were no streamers. There were no amazing streamers. No. Case in point, to watch, to entertain while playing the latest games. There's none of that. We got all our game trailers on a game disc, like you said. All of them were like 360p, and I would watch them until the disc had scratches from my laser, from my CD disc tray. There would be scratches on the disc.
That's not from that. That was because you used to just leave them lying all over the
I got a folder eventually, Neil.
I used to come to your house to come collect my games that I'd lent you, and where were they? Like scratched to death. Never lent Dave anything.
I have all the games.
You still have my copy of Grand Theft Auto 4 on PC. Yeah.
Somewhere.
Yeah, it is somewhere. Because it's mine.
You're getting all freaked out and nostalgia. You're like, I need all my games now. I need to relive the magic. So anyway, I'll look for it later. Anyway, so I still have all of my PC format magazines, my New Age gaming magazines, and even before that, before we even had a South African magazine, we used to buy the international mags. Like I can't remember the names offhand, but there was a lot of international mags we used to.
PC Gamer.
Yeah.
PSX.
PSX. They were like $100, and back then, there was a lot of money.
But that's always like when my parents would fly overseas, I'd be like, please, just go to the shops, buy, because overseas those magazines are the same price as the South African magazines. That's how they get you in South Africa. They charge you 150 rand for a magazine, for some loose leaf. Dude.
Some loose leaf. David Brody is saying, and it should be noted that GoldenEye has sat upon the throne of my N64 for years. You biscuit of a man. Keegan Grigg saying, what's the best PlayStation 1 game for you guys? Good question, Keegan. I would have to say Metal Gear Solid, bro. It's either that, PlayStation 1. It's either Metal Gear Solid. Dude, you're opening a can of worms here. Or Tony Hawk.
Tony Hawk was very rough on PlayStation 1, but it was a good game.
Tony Hawk PlayStation 1 wasn't too bad.
Yeah. It was good. We'll play it now, and you'll be like, ooh, rough.
And then
Metal Gear, I played Metal Gear Solid on my PS3 about 3 years ago, and I was still pretty blown away by it.
Dude, it's an incredible game. Jurassic Park: The Lost World. I treasured with every ounce of my being.
But also, you were my first friend to have a PlayStation. You had a PlayStation years before anyone else had a PlayStation.
Like
and we had that PSN demo disc 1 that had
Abe's Odyssey.
Had like 1080 degrees snowboarding. Or no, what was that snowboarding game?
Cool
Borders.
Cool Borders.
Battle Arena to Shinden.
Yes.
Oh man.
Anno. Some Anno ship game.
Yeah. Oh, I remember that game. Yeah, Die Hard Trilogy was
I've still got my copy of Die Hard Trilogy up there on the shelf. Oh, dude. Happy Trails, the terrible voice actor that sounded nothing like Bruce Willis. But I treasured it.
Yeah.
I treasured it. Ruth, what's happening? Good to have you guys here. If we're missing a few...
Raul throwing 110 stars as well. I just see now.
Thank you, Raul. Much obliged. Danger Deal, welcome. Should I be nice? Of course you should. Dave, and because of you, I saw when I get on mic this Xmas, I will start streaming Rainbow Six, and all the money I earn will go to charity because I don't need the money as much as they do. Look at this guy. Epic Nuclear Storm. I will be your wingman. I will join your squad in Rainbow Six and help you achieve that, buddy.
But you're not that good at Rainbow Six. I watched your last.
Doesn't matter. It's for charity. I'm getting better.
No, I'm
getting better. So I think that the point we're trying to drive home, and I'd love to open this to the chat because we've kind of talked about how we used to cherish games in the old days, but the question remains, Neil. Do you guys in the chat think that games today, number one, it's a two-part question. There's just too many games for you to even like fall in love with one of them because you're just getting bombarded with so much content. I mean, if just for an example, in this last couple of months, I got The Last of Us Part 2, played it for 2 hours, quit playing it because it's trash. and then I got.
It's not a Dave game. Let's put it that way.
And then I got Ghost of Tsushima, which was phenomenal. But then before I could even finish that, what else came out? Something else came out.
You got Avengers. You got PGA Tour. You got
PGA Tour. Tony Hawk got today. Tony Hawk today.
Ooh.
So dude, there's so much gaming wise, and I think we forget that. I don't think we have the time to give these games the time they deserve, and therefore we don't cherish them as much.
But the thing is, like, okay, we're in a privileged position because we get a lot of games for free. But also, even if you don't have to buy any games, we touched on this on one of the previous podcasts, where like you download Epic Games Store, you download EA Origin, you download Ubiplay, or whatever it's called, and you download Steam, you will have a library of 30 to 40 games immediately. You may not like all of them, but they're all like, you can get all of them, you can play all of them. Like I remember, like Bethesda, all the old Elder Scroll games, like from back in the day, are free now. You can go to their website and download them for free. All like old, like these games.
Good old games.
Yeah, good old games.
.com.
But there's thousands of games that you can play. Internet Archive, archive.org. They have something like 36,000 DOS games or something that they've uploaded that you can play on their website for free right now. And like those games, those are the games we were playing when we first got PCs, and we were like, this is the greatest thing ever. And some of those games still are really, really, really good if you can get past the graphics and the interfaces.
Yeah. But you can go to GOG right now and spend $8 on, and you can get any game that you ever played as a child instantly downloaded within 10 minutes on your machine and playing.
Or you pay 50 Rand a month and get that Xbox Games Pass, and you again have access to
300
games immediately, which is insane.
It's insane. Which is exactly why we're talking about it, because does anyone even appreciate games now as much as they used to? Hey, let's have a look at what the chat's. Let's see what the chat's saying.
The chat's going crazy.
I know a lot of nostalgia flowing in the chat. Mr. Brodio is saying he's low-key flex here, staring at an NES N64 and a full Atari 2600 with paddles, keyboards, and rotary Pong dials. This guy.
That guy's
I'm not going to be able to stand up for the next 10 minutes, David. Thank you for that. When Dave sniffed the first page, that's when his coke addiction began. There's a lot of random. Let's just go to the latest stuff. I think it's just the producers are competing against one another, and it's trying to put each other on edge. Absolutely. Because Dave and Facebook. Yes. 100.
Danger Deal says you're missing out a lot of his chats, but he's just asking strange questions about Darth Vader.
All he even says is vote for better Twitch point rewards. So I know what he's going to say already. So yeah, Neil, do you think the fact that game producers are churning out so many games are kind of becoming copy paste and generic?
It's so weird because like when BioShock came out, right?
Yeah.
They showed that game for years before it came out. I think it was like 2 years before that game finally came out. And that was the big release of that month. There was no other game coming out of that month. And that was 2007, which I think you remember is like the greatest year of gaming of all time.
That was still the decade of heyday. That's still a good decade.
But back then it was like there'd be the front page cover, there'd be the preview, like articles written, there'd be all this hype around these individual games. Where now, even like Death Stranding is a brand new Hideo Kojima game. Like it or don't like it, I don't really care like what you guys think about it. But like back in the day, that would be the number one cover of every single magazine, every single website, every single video would be covering that game. Where now it kind of came and went in like 3 days. It was released and then we were straight on to the next thing. And like I just miss that crazy hype we used to get. Like when Quake 3 came out, like you would read about it for years before it came out. Now we've had 2 Dooms come out in the last 3 years. We've got a new expansion coming out, and no one even really like is that excited. Other than the people who really like Doom. But I think that's also just the gaming is a victim of its own success, where the market is probably 100 times bigger than it was 15 years ago. So you've just got 100 times more games. But now we're getting this like overwhelming number of games coming in.
It reminds me of the late 80s in terms of the gaming market. Like people just wanted to cash in. They were flooding the market with subpar games like E.T., back in the day, just to get the payday. And I kind of feel like games are kind of heading back that way. Sure, there's some developers doing amazing work, don't get me wrong, making really unique experiences, but those are few and far between. Yeah. I mean, if I had to think of the last game that was really standout, I would say God of War 2018.
Yeah. Well, like the first game, like I think like I sung its praises on the last podcast, the new Flight Simulator is that is the first game in years that I'm like, wow, this game. Yeah. But it's very niche. Like it's not really a game. It's more of a simulator. It's in the name. But like just from a technology perspective, from just an awe-inspiring perspective. But you don't get that anymore. But it's also there's a lot of amazing games out there, but because there's so much, there's a much bigger danger now that you might actually miss it. I see Thomas Bain here saying, let's go back to the original Half-Life when game development was an actual passion. But there was a new Half-Life this year. I've got it. It is one of the greatest experiences you'll ever have in your entire life.
Have you finished it?
No, I haven't.
And there it is. Point and case.
And that's crazy. And I'm upset with myself. But every time I think like, oh, I got to set up the VR and I got to move this and I got to do this, it's like, oh, but I want to just play Flight Simulator. So,
yeah, well,
but
there you go. Before you can even put 10 hours, 6 hours into a game, you're on to the next one. And you're talking about the sequel to Half-Life that you waited a decade for, and you gave that, 10 hours of your time?
Yeah.
You moved on. And that's exactly the problem that I'm talking about, Neil. This is exactly it. You teachable moment 101. Jason, welcome. Jason Nell. Danger Deal asking if Darth Vader wears underpants. The answer is obviously no. He dissolves the poop in his stomach with the Force. He doesn't need to wear underpants. What a dumbass. Look at this guy. We're laughing at you, Danger Deal. But yeah, to go back on topic, I think that's exactly it, Neil. I think in total, I have this app here. I've got Good Old Games' Galaxy. It's like basically what Good Old Games have done is they can take every single game you own on so you link all of your online platforms, PlayStation, Xbox, Epic, Uplay, Steam, Origin, you link them all and it can tell you how many games you have. And this is telling me I've got, hold on, wait for it. I've got 482 games. Seriously, dude.
Yeah.
For what hey. So I'm never going to play those games.
So I can't tell you my entire collection, but on Steam I've got 282 games. On PlayStation, on my consoles I've probably got probably 100 games. And then, but like old games, I've got like hundreds of DOS games and old PC games that are sitting in my cupboard in like a giant box. And there's probably at least 150 there, plus all the free stuff that I've downloaded all over the years. Like, probably sitting on over 500 games that I could go in right now and play right now.
But you'll never play.
Yeah.
You'll never play. And I think you're not enjoying gaming because of the fact that you can barely get into a game before you jump into the next one. And this is Half-Life Alyx, dude. And I felt it with Ghost of Tsushima. I was really getting into Ghost of Tsushima, loving Ghost of Tsushima. And then I jumped into the next experience, and the next experience, and the next experience. Before I even finished the game, I was off to the next one. And I don't know where I'm going to find the time to finish that game.
Yeah. And it's like, and it's like even God of War. Like I had to say, okay, I'm going to sit down and I'm going to play this game. And it was totally worth it. And I'm super glad. But like now when I look at something like Skyrim, like where am I going to find the 200 plus hours to play that game?
Never.
Like that's why like Witcher 3, I've like gone into that game 3 or 4 times because I love that game. Yeah. But I get like I forget. Then I stop playing it for a couple of months and I come back to it and I don't know what's going on. I don't know why I'm in some cave, like fighting some like demon zombies. And I'm like, why am I here? I don't understand.
Yeah. Yeah. And you can't
I can't remember the controls and like, it's a nightmare.
And then you're like, oh, this game's crap. I'm off to the next one, you know? Like someone in the chat said earlier, they would play a game and finish it twice in a week. And then they would wait a while and finish it again, in a week's time. Yeah. And it was exactly like that, dude.
I think Half-Life 2 is the last game that I can remember doing that. I played Half-Life 2. I think I finished it 3 times in about the 3 years it took for Episode 2 to come out. Leisure Suit Larry on the screen right now. That's cool.
Oh, there we go. Yeah.
But now, like the last game I tried to do that with was Bloodborne, and I just couldn't. I was just like, I can't spend 40 hours playing this game again when, again, there's a million other games that I need to be playing. Or not that I want to play. It's crazy.
That's it. Nuclear Storm saying, Dave, where did you get that app? So go to goodoldgames.com and just download their desktop app, and then you'll link all your accounts. It's really cool because you can see your entire gaming collection. It's quite something to see. Chloe saying, calling us Twitchists. Agree, there are too many games. They aren't appreciated. Danger Deals is going, Facebook, bro. Thinking we don't read Twitch comments. We do. The last game I played, like from start to finish without playing another game, was Halo 3. That was 12 years ago, 10 years ago. Yeah.
Sure, yeah.
A decade ago?
Halo 3 was 2004. 2007 as well. 2007.
That's over a decade ago. The last time he actually finished a game.
Good game. I like
God of War. Yeah, no, great game. Before God of War, I can't even remember the last game I played from start to finish. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
And speaking of
I actually
Halo, I've wanted to buy that Master Chief Collection since it was announced. I wanted to buy an Xbox One so I could get that game, so I could buy it because I love Halo. Now it's out
yeah,
on Steam. It's a little bit expensive, which puts me off a little bit. But
yeah.
like I just can't see myself committing to the 16 to 20 hours per game to get my value out of there.
Oh, there you have it. You
It's
got too many
it's
games, too many hours needed to ever catch up. All you can do is possibly play the latest game and try to finish it.
But
'Cause you'll never
also,
have time to go back.
this is the thing where I think guys are getting so good. Like that's why you get like destroyed in Call of Duties or fighting games or Smash Bros or Rainbow Six Siege, because some guys are like, forget this. I'm gonna focus on my one game, and I'm gonna play my one game, and I'm gonna get so good at it. But even now, maybe like everyone back in the day used to be good at Quake 1 because that was the only game you had. Everyone
it.
jammed it for hours and hours and hours. So everyone was this like level that was really high. Where now,
Yeah.
to learn all the minutiae of a game, after like trying to fight around like, do we have enough time to play all these games? Like, it's you have this massive advantage if you say, I'm gonna leave everything else behind and focus on this one game.
Well, that's the other problem. And yes, Chloe, it's not. It's grandma's peach iced tea. It just happens to look like wine. Wink, wink. Neo saying Earthworm Jim, another classic. And that's another problem, Neil. Game developers are making games not to be a 10, 12, 30-hour experience.
Like an
but
forever experience.
To be a 4 or 5 year experience. You know, you look at Rainbow Six, you look at Call of Duty, you know, that whole model of making a game and pushing out content to keep you going for the next year, 2 or 3 is becoming commonplace.
Yeah.
You know, so like you say, guys would rather just play one game for 3 years, and that's their bundle. Is that a bad thing? I don't think so. I think like that's maybe a good.
Yeah, I think maybe those guys are actually enjoying it more. They're getting way more value out of that game than I am. Like I love Call of Duty Warzone, not Warzone, Modern Warfare. The single player. I'm like 75% through. I just haven't finished it.
It's a good campaign.
And I love the normal multiplayer, but I've just been playing Warzone the whole time. And every time then I want to sit down and play some multiplayer. It's like, oh, here's a 100 gig update. You got to wait a little while.
That's the thing. That's another problem. These updates are getting out of control.
Yeah.
Out of control. Wayne's saying games are becoming like fast food drive-thrus. Yeah, that's what we were saying earlier. Guys are just kind of cashing in, and I can see it. You know, just like I said, you get a couple of game studios that'll spend 4 or 5 years and really work hard on a game. But then you get the yearly releases that are just like, honestly, dude, like they're starting to feel like the same game with a slightly different color palette and a couple of new armor sets in a different location.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? They're just churning it out.
But the thing is, there are all these really cool, unique games, but they're getting lost in the waves of like everything else.
Well, that's the thing. You know, a lot of good games out there.
Yeah, because these days, like if you can go download Unreal Engine for free, it's actually like if you kind of know the basics of how games work and how game creation works, it is the most amazing piece of software you've ever seen. Like you can basically make any game you want in a couple of hours if you know what you're doing and you're willing to learn a bit. But like compared to the old days where you basically had to code everything from scratch, all hardcore in code. Nothing was given to you, where now you can basically put together a really simple game in an hour. So guys who have this really amazing creative ability now have this amazing tool to create these games. But the problem is now all of these millions and millions and millions of games are coming out, and you're getting lost in the noise. It's a bit like the music industry. Anyone can make music, and anyone's been able to make music for probably the last 30 years. Anyone could publish music and get it out there. And obviously it's gotten a lot easier with SoundClouds and home recording and that kind of stuff. But now with gaming, it's becoming that too. So you have to get some way of going through all the rubbish and getting to the good stuff. And some of the good stuff just gets missed forever. Same with music. You'll hear the best song ever and no one's listened to it. I actually like going through YouTube and finding like the 15,000 listen songs, and you're like, this is a great song, and you come back like 6 months later and it's like 17,000, and you're like, well, That's the end of that.
Didn't quite take off.
Yeah.
But I know what you say, dude. Like I mean, I spend more time on indie games than I do on AAA titles. I've put more time into Skater XL, an indie game about skateboarding with like 3 parks, 3 maps. I put more time into that than like some of the biggest AAA titles of the last 2-3 years. You know, and to answer Mohammed's question, he said, I don't think people clock games to 100% anymore. Like I said, the last game I finished to completion was God of War 2 years ago. Before that, I can't even remember. Maybe Call of Duty, but do those even count, those campaigns? They're like 6 hours.
Yeah. But even that, like, I'm struggling to finish Call of Duty, and I love Call of Duty campaigns because they are 6 hours. That's what I loved about them. It's like, cool, I can do this in 3 solid sessions of like 2 hours apiece. I can finish this game and have myself a good time.
Let's ask the chat. What was the last game you guys finished to completion? It can be this year, it can be last year, it can be 3 years ago, it can be 5 years ago. What is the last game? Looking at you, Chloe. She says she agrees with you, by the way, on the songs. Yeah. Last game you finished to completion. Maybe we're going to get surprised here. Maybe a lot of guys have the time to play. Chloe says Peggle. Did you really finish Peggle? That's impressive.
I was supposed to finish Peggle, and then my roommate at the time, his name was Irvin. While I was studying at varsity, he just went onto my computer and finished Peggle, and I was very upset with him. But I think Dave has a similar story about me. So,
I'm trying to remember what was. Die Hard Trilogy.
Yeah,
I remember that. Yeah, when you finished it, the second game, I was like, "Don't finish it. I want to finish it." I go take a pee, and I come back, and he's like, "Killed the bad guy." Well, we won't go back there. Wayne saying Borderlands 3 that came out recently. Okay, nice to completion.
That's like a long game as well.
That's a long game, dude. The kudos on that. StarCraft 2 for Stefan, Legacy of the Void, also to completion. Nice.
That game's 3 years old, 4 years old.
Legacy of the Void.
Yeah.
Is that new?
That's the final add-on that they released.
Oh, okay, cool.
But it's still 4 years old.
But even Borderlands 3 is what, a year ago, 2 years ago. Yeah, so the last time
if we had the technology to go back in time and do a podcast in 1997, and we were able to ask people, like most people would like list games that they had just bought, and they'd be like, "Yeah, I finished it last week, got it like 3 days before that," you know.
Yeah, and they would finish it again a week later. You know what I'm saying? Neo saying I finished GTA 5 for the 4th time the other day. I still haven't finished GTA 5, bro. I'm not proud of it. I still haven't done it. Newest game I finished was Call of Duty World War II Nuclear Storm. Nice. Well, all those games are 3 years old, you know? So we all dropping the ball when it comes to actually playing games, finishing them.
Well, I think Nuclear Storm might have got Call of Duty for free with PSN the other day. So.
Oh, okay. Well, that makes a difference. Welcome, Jandre. Neil, if I had to lock you into a basement, here's a question for you.
Yeah.
Here, I'm going to lock you into a basement, and you can only play one game for the next year. You'll have food, water, and some gym. You'll have food, water, and some gym equipment, so like you can sustain yourself.
I know exactly what I'm going to play, and you're going to hate me. Right. Minecraft.
Why?
Because
you
can make other games in Minecraft. It's amazing. And I love Minecraft.
You played that for a year straight? Hey?
Yeah.
Chloe asking, what about us? Mine's God of War back in 2018. Neil?
I finished Shadow of the Colossus about 4 months ago when it was free on PS.
Oh, well, that's not bad,
baby. No, that was a good game because I wanted to play that for years. And not too bad. It's only about 16 hours. It wasn't too bad.
Nice. Welcome, Marco Java. What about me, Neil? What game would I play in a basement? That's what I think you wanted to ask.
What game would you want to play? If you say, what's that horrible game you like so much?
Kane Lynch 2.
Kane Lynch 2. Then I'm ending this podcast right now.
Well, it's Kane Lynch 2. No, I would have to say, if I was in a basement for a year and I could have one game, it would probably have to be like, can we play online against other people?
Yeah. Well, yeah. Let's say you can.
Okay. It would probably have to be like a Company of Heroes 2, because like you can just play the crap out of that. You know,
there's no multiplayer in Company of Heroes 2. Company of Heroes 2. Sorry, yeah. There's like five other guys. I was thinking Commandos 2 for some reason.
Commandos 2.
Yeah.
Oh,
I know you like that game though.
I bought the remaster.
Yeah,
I think I refunded it like 2 hours later. I couldn't get past the first area. It was so glitchy and crap. Neo says, let's ask the chat, what game would you take into a basement for a year if you had to?
Well, Wayne Smith saying Minecraft, he'd rather chew off his hands. He obviously hasn't played Minecraft. So I'll let it slide.
Tom is saying, need a puzzle, something to challenge the mind. Well, that's a good strategy game, a good RTS like Company Heroes. Neo is saying, give me Sims 3 with all the expansions. I'll be good for a month. What about a year, buddy?
Yeah.
Give me Rainbow Six. Okay, Rainbow Six is not a bad game.
Rainbow Six Siege, you'll come out super good at that game.
Come out like a world champion.
Like I would even know all the maps by that point. I'd be like, ooh, I know this map.
I think you'd need a year alone in a basement just to master Rainbow Six.
Maybe I'd actually buy the version with all the operators, so I don't have to play with the same 3 operators like I usually do.
Are you still playing with the same?
Yeah, and they've even released a version that's got more, but I'm like stuck in the old rubbish version.
That's a good game.
I know. I love that game, but
oh, golly gosh. Another one, but it was old game, was Blood 2: The Chosen. Oh yes, dude. I recently played Blood Fresh Supply. That's the original game
that one's
remastered,
cool.
And it holds up so well, dude. So well. So yeah, that would probably be my Company Heroes 2 would probably be my game that I would just play forever, or at least for a year.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. Like, I haven't felt that like Company Heroes 2 really was standout. Even the first Company Heroes. Dude, like you said, 2007, that decade was insane for games. I mean, you got Call of Duty Modern Warfare, you got BioShock, you got Halo 3, you got Company of Heroes.
And you got the games that like thought outside the box. You got the Guitar Heroes, you got the Rock Bands, you got like the Wii games with the motion controls. You got all of that crazy stuff. And like not all of it was good, but like at least it was something different. Like where now it's like, hey, here's another Tomb Raider clone, like that game you were playing earlier.
You didn't like the Avengers?
No.
Yeah.
What do you mean? Rubber Girl with featuring a quick highlight of maybe an Avenger once.
I was telling Neil
and
this.
Bruce Banner looks like Tony Stark for some reason. I didn't like it.
You got the IP. You got the IP to make an Avengers game. We've been watching for over a decade. We've been watching the Avengers kick ass on the big screen, and then you fill the shoes of like a 16-year-old girl with rubber arms. That's the game. I was not pleased.
You enjoyed it. You like these.
Once I was playing as the Hulk, it was a lot more enjoyable. Mohammed said, "It's Counter-Strike for a year. That's a good game. That's not bad,
good, man.
Yeah, game for a whole year would be Skyrim or Red Alert 2. Red Alert 2 or Skyrim. Okay, that's a game you could
Skyrim, I could see you could maybe play. But like, remember, this is a year.
So, dude, 3 months into Skyrim, you'd be bored.
Yeah.
Easily. But I think everyone's on the same page. I mean, a lot of people agreed with us just saying that like there's just too many games being rushed out, and then at the last game, like you guys have finished was a year or maybe even 2 years ago, which if you look at how many games were released in the last 2 years.
I just have to interrupt you. Thomas Bain dropped 1,000 stars.
What? Thomas Bain with 1,000? This guy. Hey.
I think we should put star alerts back on the stream.
Dude, thank you so much, Thomas Bain. Dude, he's always spoiling us. Thank you so much, buddy. Much appreciated. That's more stars than we've had the whole week. Hey.
Thank you very much, Thomas.
You biscuit. He says for Warcraft 3 for him. That's also it's just like me.
Warcraft 3, if you have an internet connection, then you get like the original Dota. You get all those tower defense. So there's like probably like 10 games. That's like a bit of a cheat code. I quite like that.
You can get the mods as well. I guess I never said you can. You can mod it. I guess that's allowed.
Yeah, then Warcraft 3 is actually a very good choice.
There's a lot. Yeah, well, you basically got 10 games in one. Skyrim is a brilliant game. I finished all the main quest lines at least on 3 different occasions, and I still love playing the game. Well, there you go. And Skyrim came out when? 10 years ago?
2011, I think.
There you go. What happened to the good games, Neil? That's the next podcast. What happened to the good games? Where are the good games, Neil? Next topic. But I'm glad to see everyone's on the same page. And
I think a lot of guys are agreeing with us. And like the crazy thing is, there definitely used to be a split between like people with a lot of money, they would always have, like, you'd go to your friend's house, you'd be like, yeah, I got another 3 games this weekend, and you'd hate them because, like, their parents were super wealthy, or they knew someone at CNA or something like that.
Yeah.
Where now, like, no one really has a problem. Like, the only real issue you have is buying the latest games and the latest hardware. But, like, anyone with a PC and Steam, you just wait for the sales. You pick up that game from 3 years ago for $50. You know, like, prices stop being an issue, and you get a ton of free games as well. So I think it's a good thing. That's why, like, so many people are now playing games. But guys are missing out on the real amazing gaming experiences
because of the saturation, you know, and that's exactly it. There's just too much out there. Too much. Stefan's saying, what about the Gothic series? That's another great IP. The next topic should be the 30 series. Ooh, graphics cards. We were going to maybe talk about it, but we thought it's going to be hard to talk about for an hour if we don't have the benchmarks and stuff like that.
Like it's just been released, and like all we know is like it's super fast. So, well, I think hopefully by next week we might be able to have some benchmarks and a bit more to talk about with it, and we can maybe go into the history of graphics cards, like we went into the history of gaming here. That could be quite fun.
Yeah. But I think that about wraps it up tonight. Yeah, I think we kind of struck our point clear.
Flew by though. Should we have a quick look at the results of the poll?
Yeah. What was the poll question?
It was how big is your library? So it was between 50 and 100, or no, 50 and 150, 150 to 300, and then more than 300.
Okay, let's have a look. So I'm on about, if you talk total game library, I'm like 4,500.
Yeah, so let's have a look at the results of the poll here. Not too bad. So less than 50, we had 21% of the people. 51 to 150, 37, so that's the standout. So most people seem to have between 51 and 50. 150 to 300, 21%. So it's pretty close all around. 300 plus, also 21%. So,
jeez.
Yeah. So a lot of guys have some big
so
game collections.
A quarter of the people have over 300 games.
Pretty much. Just about a fifth of the people have over 300 games.
That's insane. Yeah. Hey?
If you guys haven't cast your vote yet, be sure to refresh your page on Facebook and
cast
vote
your vote,
for
guys.
us.
Cast your vote.
Sitting with a total library of over 2,000 games that I don't play, says Nuclear Storm.
What? Nuclear Storm? What the hell, dude? That's amazing. I think we need to link Steam accounts, buddy. We'll chat after this. Sorry, Neil. You're out of the back door, buddy. But guys, yeah, there we have it. That's I think we answered the question, and I think there are too many games. I think because of that, because of the saturation, the good games, and a lot of them are indie games, are being missed. And I think game developers are more focused on the bottom line, rushing out copy-paste games. And we're not getting the lightning in the bottle like we used to back in the early 2000s and the 90s. And I'm glad you guys are on the same page. And thank you for all the likes and the stars, especially my boy Thomas Payne, for the shares. If you guys haven't given us a share, you can still give us a share now.
And all the comments as well.
Yeah, thanks for just hanging out and sharing some of your nostalgia, your gaming nostalgia with us. It's a lot of fun. Like Neil said, the time flew by because we were just having so much fun talking crap with you guys. Don't forget to have a look at the links in the description for the Spotify and the Apple Music links. You can go sub there. Chloe saying, thanks for the party. Pleasure, Chloe. Thanks for joining us. I think this is one of the first parties she's joined. We're going to have Chloe on the podcast in the next week or two. She just doesn't know it yet. But yeah, we'll get Chloe on here, talk about being a girl in gaming and how cool it is and all that good stuff. And yeah, guys, we will be back on. You're not streaming tonight, Neil?
No, so I think Chloe and Craig will be streaming tomorrow. And
Chloe's live tomorrow, yeah.
Yeah, and then Double D on Friday. And then
I'll be back Friday. There we have it, ladies and gents. So make sure you pop us a follow. But thank you so much, guys. Stephen saying how many games were shared from the LAN events. Oh, dude, bajillions. Yeah. Not just games, wink, wink, if you know what I'm saying. That's a topic for another day. Much love to you guys. Thank you so much for joining us. Much appreciated as always. And we will catch you guys on the next one. This is the Double D and the Marksman signing out. It's your boys.
Thank you very much, guys. See ya. Bye-bye.
Yeah.